who's going to do the review of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Relax, my good boy. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a classic piece of cinema. We have top men working on it. But who? Top men. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're reviewing Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you could be a dear and hit that like button and that subscribe button as well if you haven't already. I've just gone through the trouble of writing like and subscribe on my own eyes backwards. Surely the least you can do is hit a like button and a subscribe button. But thank you if you do, I do appreciate it. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981, starring Harrison Ford, and was directed by Steven Spielberg, behind an idea that his good friend George Lucas had come up with. The actual idea of the film came about from Spielberg and Lucas essentially saying, we want to do James Bond, but we want to do it differently. And from that idea came Indiana Jones. So Indiana Jones tells the story of Indiana Jones. He is an archaeologist and he goes out and about in the world and discovers interesting items, artifacts, and he puts them into museums so that they are safe rather than left out in the world and potentially being put into the wrong hands. And we are told all of this within the first couple of opening shots. Whether it be what Indiana Jones is wearing, the way he acts, the tough demeanor, the way that he is the outsider in this little group that he starts with, and yet he seems to be the one in charge. The bravado, the cockiness, the bravery, he seems to be this larger-than-life character, and barely a word has been said at this point of the movie. The taking of the idol and the boulder chase scene, these are iconic, genuinely iconic. I think I use that word too often, but that scene is iconic for me. And what's brilliant about the way they treat Indiana Jones as a character is that despite that bravado and bravery and brash arrogance that I suggested he has about him, which he does, you also almost immediately see that he is a very vulnerable human being with flaws. He is terrified of snakes. He is often outnumbered and outarmed. He often can't just swing a punch and get out of a situation. He has to be crafty. He has to hide in the funnel of a boat at one point in the movie. They do a fantastic job of really fleshing out the title character and making him feel real and also unique. There are so many iconic scenes throughout this movie that I genuinely struggled to pick just one to reenact before I reviewed it. I often like to try and reenact a scene from a film that's likely going to go into the Hall of Fame. But on this occasion, the set pieces are just so big that I was like, okay, well, I can't reenact a boulder chasing me. I just can't do that. I can't reenact a light show. It's like, this is just effort beyond effort, this film. There is such a passion behind the making of this, and it just leaps off the screen, looking at the set design, the way the cobwebs hang, the outfits, the death scenes, the really quite gory death scenes. It's magical, and it does so much in bringing it to life and being tense, genuinely scary at times. I've seen the film well over 50 times now, and yet even in that opening scene where Alfred Molina's character runs away and Indy has to jump over the gap and the door's closing and he's hanging onto the ledge and he grabs the thing to pull him up and then the thing that gives way and the door's closing. I know in the deep recesses of my mind, yes, he absolutely gets out of here and he does that famous thing where he reaches back in and grabs his whip. But in the moment, every single time, I am shitting myself for Indiana Jones, thinking, come on, dude, get the fuck up, get up, come on, we haven't got time, get going. That is good directing, good writing, and even better sound design. But that is how this film operates at its very best. It is a lot of little gears turning together to make a bigger gear turn. I also really like Karen Allen. I'm sorry if I've gotten that wrong. I will put it up here if I got it wrong. But she plays Marion in the movie, who is Indiana Jones's love interest. These two together might be one of the most natural romantic partnerships in a film I've ever seen. They just feel like they should be together. They feel right for each other. They feel like they're made for each other. They feel like they complete each other, And throughout the whole film, you actually find yourself frustrated that they can't just do it, be a thing. And when they do be a thing, you're overjoyed, happy, loving it, and it's believable. Again, the chemistry is just on fire between these two, and that isn't actually taking anything away from the performance of Marion. Marion is absolutely her own character. She is not just the damsel in distress here. In fact, I think they do a very good job to not make her the damsel in distress, despite the several moments where she is being captured, taken away, and so on. She can hold her own. She can drink most men under the table, and she can also knock out a fair few of them with her right hand. She absolutely contributes to the film. She helps Indy out, as he helps her out. I also really like the villains in this, the Belloc and the Nazis. I forget the main Nazi guy. As soon as I put up a picture of him, you'll know who I mean, because his death scene is one of the most iconic death scenes in cinema. But I forget his name. For me, Belloc is the main villain in this one, at least how I see it. I really like Belloc, actually, because he's really understated. I think a lot of people have the opposite issue to me. I think they wanted Belloc to be a little bit larger than life. I don't feel like I needed that. I kind of feel like I understand Belloc's character just from what we get. I get the impression that he's quite a snobby and up his own arse sort of bloke who thinks he knows better than everyone, and the truth of the matter is that he probably only knows 3/4 of everything. They're real people. Those sort of people absolutely exist, and they're incredibly frustrating and they're not fun to deal with. And that is kind of what Belloc is through this. Even in the moment where Indiana Jones is threatening to blow up the Ark, Belloc just says, yeah, go on then, because I know you're not gonna. But I think it's a very good character and I enjoy him here. Now, coming to the discovery of the Ark and everything else in between, this is like where the film just heats up to a boil for me. It's so good. The entering of the Pit of Souls, all of the snakes, the dialogue, the set design, again, outstanding. It's also fair to point out that both Gimli and Dr. Octopus are in this movie, and they're both awesome in this movie as well. The more I think about this movie, the more I realise it is just iconic scene after iconic scene after iconic scene. This film is a fucking masterpiece, and it is going to get an 11 out of 10. I also very gladly announce that Raiders of the Lost Ark is the third inductee into the IMO Hall of Fame. What can I say about this movie that just hasn't already been said? It's just brilliant. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. This is a must watch. Thank you for watching this review, and thank you for voting as well. This was your choice. Well, some of your choice, as many of you also voted for Silence of the Lambs. A worthy second place, might I add. Please be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do leave a comment as well. I would love to know what you think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.